Hey everybody, just back today doing a little bit of an update on my Screaming Eagles bolt action update. I haven't made much progress on my vehicles that I'd started, but I have made some progress on the Screaming Eagles. That's kind of what I've been working on. I was away for the weekend, and so I haven't really gotten a whole lot done since I guess the beginning of last week. I guess it's been 6 days since I put up a video, but most of the work that I have done was on working on the faces and cleaning up and putting highlights and additional washes on the Screaming Eagles. And then today I've also put on decals or decals for the Screaming Eagles to show their airborne patch on one side and the American flag on the other. I believe it was Sergeant Oddballs, a subscriber, who I'm also subscribed to his channel, that asked about these decals a while ago. I've already cut up the sheet, but just to sort of give an idea, they give you a sheet. You know, it's not that big. It's just, you know, maybe 2 inches by 3 inches of just various decals that you can use, and you know the American flags are actually really small. I can say that I was a little worried. I mean, I knew these things had to be small when I took it out of the bag, and that they might be difficult to work with. But the Warlord Games decals are actually really quite good. Now, I've been making my own decals for some models in the past, and you know, I don't find the tester sheets that you run through the printer to be as good quality as sometimes as the manufactured ones. But these ones are actually quite good, in my opinion. So even though I used a really sharp X-Acto blade, brand new, and ruler to make some clean cuts on those, they actually still came out quite well. They're a bit glossy where the decals are because I used set microsaw, but then also I put a gloss varnish in that spot first, and I'll put another gloss varnish over it. And so, you know, there's the flag, and then there's the airborne patch, which I just put these on, so they're pretty shiny at the moment, but I'll show a couple others. This one's actually the medic. And so it came with a Red Cross American flag. Here's the officer. One thing I didn't do is put any stripes on. I don't know how the scale really matches up in real life, but you know, that's almost like half the length of his elbow to his shoulder, that patch. And I wasn't too convinced that I was going to be able to get a full set of like Sergeant Corporal stripes or something on there, because they're quite large. But in general, I'm pretty happy with the way I've highlighted the rest of the model. Now really that I've finished the decals, what I'll be doing is just now working on the base, and then I'll be finished. I've also got teams finished too. So I got a mortar team. Like I said earlier, when I first started this project, I'll mainly be using these guys as veterans. I don't typically use veterans in game, but they're actually quite effective because you essentially need, starting, you need a 5 in bolt action on a 6-sided dice to actually get a kill, not to hit, but to get a kill as a base on a veteran. It makes a big difference sometimes, actually. So you have a bazooka as well. I really enjoyed painting these guys up. I actually find Warlord's medals to be really good. I didn't really enjoy the U.S. Army plastics as much. I mean, they're great for a deal to get an army quick, but I found both my U.S. Army medals and the Airborne medal miniatures to be have a bit more character and detail than the plastics, which you have to assemble. Have more flexibility, of course, the plastics, but I like these ones better. So yeah, next up for these guys will just be the bases. I do actually have some other... Now you know that I have a truck and a Sherman and a plane to be doing, but I have actually ordered some stuff from Warlord for bolt action. One of them was just another foreground house, just like I've shown on the channel before, and so that's really not going to be anything that's special, but and I don't really know how much I can show of these because these are resin, but you'll see them later on the channel. I'm just gonna pan out and back real quick so I can just show these. So yeah, I have some more stuff, like I mentioned, the foreground house, just expand my table a bit. I'll open this at another point just to maybe show it more proper, but this is the U.S. Army crew dismounted. These are essentially meant to be tank crew, and so there's 3 miniatures, but one of them is sort of a guy being pulled out by a comrade and another guy, and so these can be used, I guess, a little bit with the tank war supplement. You can have tank crew, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to get these guys. And part of that reason is that I am looking at building up my armor for the U.S. Army, and so as you know, I'm working on my second Sherman, but I've also got another one exactly like my original, the M4A375, and so this guy I've already painted up in the past on the channel, working on the 76mm now, but these 3 will make essentially a Sherman platoon with radio communications between the 3, like according to the tank war rules, where you can use 3 of them at once. I also got my first light tank, and so I got a Stuart, M5 Stuart. I have actually went through these just to make sure that there were no major problems, and there weren't. And I have to say that since a year and a half ago, when I picked up my stuff in the past, this batch on all 3 of them are actually, I mean, I do have to do some cleanup here, so you can see that I didn't fit this one, like that has to be cleaned up, but for the most part, even this isn't a big chunk coming off. They've actually cleaned them up much better than they have in the past, and so I'm really happy with the cast on this. So this is the light tank, and it actually came with some metal drivers and things there as well, and I also got something else. So I got an M36, so I got the Jackson, and so I got this to have a bit more heavy support. So it's on a Sherman type chassis, but it's got this open top compartment where it's got its gun, which is more of a super heavy tank gun. So you can see that here. It also comes with, like, basically you're gonna have 3 crew members in the top of this open top thing, and it's got this much larger gun on it. I'm trying to remember, I don't remember exactly what it is. I don't know if this is the 3-inch gun, but it's larger than the Sherman 75 or 76. It's more of a super heavy gun, and so it'll be interesting. It's funny because unless I go into what I believe is the Pershing in the late war tank for the U.S., the U.S. have like a lot of different tanks that, I mean, if you want your sort of general all-around medium tank, then I think the Sherman with the 75mm cannon is sort of like that most popular. It's sort of all around. It's got medium everything. It's sort of like medium armor, like a medium gun, but there isn't anything that's sort of like a Tiger or a Panther outside of like the Pershing, which is more of like, didn't really have, I don't think, a lot of active duty in World War II. It was more in the Korean War, as I understand it. It came late. But, you know, like you have things that have like really good firepower, but like something like the Hellcat, for instance, which is really a light tank. It's more, it's just closer to it with the rules go to an armored car. It's like really, really fast, really, really thin armor, but has like a super heavy tank gun on it. And so it's interesting because it's like you can mix things up with the different US tanks, but they're not like, you have to bring them for what you need to use them for a little bit strategically, because they're not like sort of an all-comer super heavy tank, you know, with super heavy armor and a tank gun. So it's kind of interesting. So it's kind of forced me in some ways to think about buying a number of different things just to kind of fit different niches in what you're trying to do. But in general, like, I'm definitely, the main thing I wanted is just to be able to field a Sherman platoon. That was the main thing I wanted. All this other stuff's just kind of fun stuff just to do as well. I have some updates on Saga as well, but I'm not going to do that in this video, and I have some other updates as well. But I just thought today I'd show kind of what I was doing for bolt action, and I'm on a bit of a bolt action kick right now. I'm enjoying doing the painting, and I'm enjoying doing the playing of the game. I have played some Saga recently. I'll talk about that at another point. But yeah, I just thought I'm gonna be continuing to be doing some bolt action painting for the foreseeable future. And for those of you that put in questions on that prior video for the Q&A session I'll be doing pretty soon, I appreciate that. If I haven't answered and I've just liked, it's because I'm saving my answer for the video. Other folks just kind of comment on the video, in which case I've answered. So, but it's not that I'm like not paying attention to your comment, it's that I'm using it for the intended purpose. So, okay, hope you guys are having a good week, and I will talk to you later. Cheers.